A creepy regular customer is coming into my restaurant and is consistently asking me to go out with him to go get some drinks. And despite the fact that he knows that I'm engaged and he has a wife and kids, this guy keeps making creepy remarks towards me. And at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 24-year-old female bartender, and I have worked at my restaurant for over 2 years now. About a year ago, I got promoted to become a bartender, and this is when I met Alex. Alex is not his real name. Alex started off as the perfect customer, super kind and respectful, low maintenance and easy to talk to, great sense of humor, and tipped really, really well. Like if his check was under $100, he would always tip $50, and if it was above that, he would always tip $100. But even if he didn't tip like this though, I still really would have enjoyed him as a customer. I really did like talking to him, and if I saw him come in, I knew it would be a good day. Now, my coworker, who had been bartending at my restaurant longer than I have, noticed all of this before I did. She had suspected that Alex had a crush on me for a while, but didn't say anything because he kept it respectful, and it all seemed harmless. Alex also has a wife and 3 kids, by the way, and he also knows that I'm engaged. So again, a harmless crush doesn't necessarily mean anything, especially if he doesn't act on it. Or at least that's what my coworker thought. Alex started coming in more and more. I would see him come in at least once a week. He then asked me what days I bartended, and then he would only come in on those days. Then one of his kids got really sick and he didn't come in for a while, and me and all the other bartenders were really worried about him during this time because his kid is super young, and we all really cared about this guy. Sometime after Thanksgiving, Alex comes in again while I was working. He talks to me about his kid, and he begins to tell me that he really likes talking to me and asks me again what days I work because he wants to come in when I do. He proceeds to ask me to exchange emails so he can get my schedule. Now, I thought that was really weird, and I told him emails seem a bit suspicious. He then laughed it off and agreed with me, and then gave me his number instead. He then tipped me $200 that night, and I threw away his number at the end of my shift. It felt wrong, and it made me feel dirty. Maybe a week before Christmas, Alex comes in again and apologizes if giving me his number made me feel uncomfortable. He then tells me that if he ever says or does anything that makes me uncomfortable, then I can tell him to get lost. And after he says that, I just laugh it off and say I will, because seriously, what else am I supposed to do? I'm at work and I can't leave or do anything. I was also very confused at the time because it was very weird for him to do that. Later on, when I cash him out, he starts talking about again how easy it is for him to talk to me and how he really has no one else, how his mom never cared about him and only does so now because he has money, and how friends have manipulated him because of his money. So I ask him, okay, what about your wife? Surely she's there for you. Well, he then continues to talk garbage about his wife and how they are always fighting and can never agree on anything. I tell him I really think he should talk to a therapist, but he tells me that he's tried and they only want his money. But then he looks at me and tells me that I'm different. He also calls me attractive and just continues on. Now, I don't know what to say or even how to process what I'm hearing, but I found a way somehow to end the conversation and get back to work so he could finally leave. And thankfully, he didn't come in for a while after that again. But eventually, Alex came back on Valentine's Day with his wife. I was not sure how to process it at first, but he started to bring her in more, and I even got to talk to her and get to know her. And she is wonderful and so beautiful. She is really kind. She's an elementary school teacher, and she loves her family a lot. It really made me dislike Alex because here he has this wonderful wife who is struggling just as much as he is, and he spends hours at my bar while she's at home taking care of her sick kid and their infant. Anyways, things started to get better, and it really seemed like their relationship was on the mend, and maybe whatever was happening during the holidays was a moment of weakness for him. He started acting normal, and I could talk to him without feeling uncomfortable, and even when he came in without his wife, it was like things were back to the way they were. The last time I saw his wife, she came in and asked if I work out and started asking me what I do because she has fitness goals of her own. Now, I don't mind normally talking about that stuff because I enjoy weightlifting and I enjoy helping out other people that are interested in it. Well, as I'm answering her questions, Alex jumps in and says, "I'll pay you to train her," and my jaw nearly dropped to the floor when he said that. It felt almost sinister, and I started to feel trapped. I immediately say, "Oh no, I wouldn't be good as a trainer," and I derail this by showing his wife a woman who I know is a certified trainer that could help her get the results that she is looking for. After that debacle, Alex started coming in alone again, and this is where he started making really weird jokes. He started joking about me babysitting his kids, and in my head, I'm literally screaming internally, like, I'm a stranger, what are you talking about? He then told me he could teach me how to paint when I mentioned I enjoy painting as a a hobby. He also invited me to gamble with him, and when I told him I don't like losing, he told me he would give me money to gamble. I had to make a joke about if he gave me money, I wouldn't gamble it, because then it wouldn't be his, it would be mine. And at this point, I had told 2 other bartenders that are women, and they had noticed it too and helped keep an eye out for me and tried to help me avoid him at all cost. But it's very hard when I'm literally trapped behind a counter. Now, the worst of all of this happened this summer when he came in late and heard that 2 of my coworkers were going out for drinks after the shift. The bartender I was working with liked him a lot, and the 2 of them have gone out for drinks before, so he invited Alex to join them as well. It was then that Alex quickly asked me if I was joining, which I said no, I'm tired and I'm going straight to bed after my shift. He then literally begs me to come out and offers to buy me a drink. But again, I decline, and I give the excuse that I just got back from vacation and I drank way too much and I need to let my body rest. Alex then continues to beg me to come out with them and to let him buy me a drink 15 times that night. And I'm not even exaggerating right now. I wish it wasn't true. The last thing he said to me before they left for the bar was to say, "So what'll it be? Is it a yes or a no?" So I told him that my answer is still no. He then jokes that he didn't hear me, and I correct him and say that he wasn't listening. But then he says in a coy manner, "Oh, well, I don't like to listen." And at this point, I nearly flipped out. That pissed me off so much. But instead, I chose to just not say anything and leave. Alex came back in the next week, and before he leaves, he asked me to come out for a drink with him again as a friend. So I say that I don't drink. He then asks me if I want to drink coffee, but I tell him that I don't drink caffeine. He then pleads with me and asks, "Okay, do you want to get water instead?" So it's then that I finally tell him I'm not comfortable going out with him at all. And then I go ahead and I cash him out. He then tells me to have a nice life and then he leaves. Well, this guy didn't come back in for almost 3 months, but I bet you can probably guess what happens next. Alex came in again about 2 weeks ago. He came in with his friend that he will sometimes come in with because he passed a really hard class. It's some kind of really high-level chemical engineering class or something like that. And once again, things seem to be very normal. Alex is not saying anything weird and is just acting like nothing ever happened. Now, I am keeping my service hat on, but also trying to keep my distance as much as I can behind the counter. He also likes to sit right behind our computer, which is also right next to the well, so again, it makes it really hard to avoid this guy. Much to my relief though, nothing really happens, and they leave with it being a pleasant and uneventful visit. But now we caught up to the present, and he came in again this past Tuesday, an hour before we closed by himself, all while I'm the only bartender working. And right then, I'm hoping that everything will be fine and normal, but I'm also really scared that it won't. And much to my dismay, he asked me out for drinks again. Now, I avoid the question, but he asked me again. I tell him that I'm on antibiotics, so I can't drink, which is the truth conveniently enough. But this man refuses to take the hint and continues to exhaust me. He then asks me, "How about when you're off antibiotics? What about then?" I tell him no again and just make an excuse that I'm trying to be sober. Now, I don't know if he believed me or finally got the hint, but he said goodnight and finally left. I was actually very scared with this last interaction. Even though nothing serious seemed to be happening from an outside perspective, I was so scared. For the first time, I was actually alone behind the bar while he was there. There was one cocktailer working, but there was no one behind the bar with me, and he was almost the second to last customer to leave. I was very scared of being completely alone in the whole bar with just him and me, and him just completely ignoring everything that happened to then continue to ask me to get a drink with him was really scary. It makes me so scared of what would have happened if I gave in and finally agreed. What else would he continue to push? Luckily, my manager walked me out that night and nothing happened, and for now, I am safe. I finally told the bartender that went out for drinks with Alex that night, but I don't know what else to do. From the surface, he is the literal perfect customer, and I'm just so lucky that the people I've told believe me, but I am scared management won't believe me. I'm scared of them blaming me for what happened to me. I'm scared of retaliation from him, but I'm also scared every time he comes in now. What should I do? Okay, this Alex guy is super creepy. This is not the perfect customer. This is like the perfect stalker if you ask me. First of all, do not give this guy any more information about your schedule. Don't tell him a thing. That is so dangerous. This guy is clearly crossing so many boundaries, it's not even funny. Like, this guy has a wife and kids, and here he is being like, "Oh, come and get some drinks with me." He's clearly trying to get you drunk so he can take advantage of you. And I'm sorry to say that, but that is exactly what this reads as. And in my opinion, I think you need to start shouting it from the rooftops that this guy is making you feel uncomfortable. He's trying to ask you out, and he's practically begging you to go on some pseudo date with him. Like, this is inappropriate. You have a fiance and this guy's married, and the sheer fact fact that he's making you uncomfortable, especially when you have all this mounting evidence against him, that should be more than enough reason for management to get involved. And in my opinion, if they don't believe you, then it might be time to find a different job. Like, first of all, why would you make this up? Like, why would you fabricate this story against someone who clearly was a good regular customer at first? Because right now, this is straying into some kind of weird territory that you absolutely do not deserve. And if this management even values you as an employee, then they would step in and do something about it, because this behavior is definitely not normal. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. Am I the jerk for not inviting my brother to my son's graduation party simply because I knew he would make that entire celebration about him and his new girlfriend? Because right now my entire family's upset with me, and at this point I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So I have a son who recently graduated from high school. This was a huge milestone, and we had been planning a special family dinner to celebrate. I was proud of him, and I wanted the evening to be focused on his accomplishments, as he had worked very hard to get to this point. Well, my brother, who we will call Alex, has a bit of a history when it comes to family events. Every time he gets into a new relationship, he parades his new girlfriend around, turning any occasion into meet the girlfriend night. It has happened so many times that it's become a running joke in the family, but this time I was not in the mood for distractions. He just started dating a woman by the name of Lisa a couple of months ago, and I knew exactly how the night would go. Alex would be introducing her to everyone like she's the main event, hogging conversations, and making it about them rather than Sam. So I asked him not to bring her to the dinner. I told him it wasn't personal, but I wanted the focus to be on Sam and not on his new relationship. Now, I thought Alex would understand, but he completely lost it. He called me selfish, said I was jealous because he was happy again after his divorce, and then he accused me of deliberately excluding him. My parents, always the peacemakers that they are, got involved and started pressuring me to let it go. They said that Alex deserved to be happy and that Lisa should be welcomed with open arms, especially since Alex hasn't been in a serious relationship since his divorce. They made me feel like I was ruining family harmony, but I stood my ground. I wanted this night to be special for Sam and not another spectacle about Alex's latest girlfriend. In the end, Alex refused to come without her, so I didn't invite him at all. And now my parents are furious, saying I'm alienating my own brother over something petty, and Alex is spreading the word that I'm punishing him for being in love. Sam had a great night, but I can't shake the feeling that I've caused unnecessary drama. Some family members agree with me, but others say that I could have just let him bring her to avoid conflict. So right now I'm stuck wondering, was I wrong for drawing this line, or is Alex the one who's making everything about himself yet again? What should I do? No, I don't think you're the jerk here. I think you were being proactive about something that absolutely was probably gonna happen, and that in my opinion is super annoying. Like, you know for a fact he's gonna be like, oh yeah, look at my girlfriend, and somehow steal the spotlight away from your son who just graduated high school. Because yes, that is a huge milestone, and yes, he should be celebrated for that. It shouldn't become some show and tell situation with Alex and his new girlfriend, especially since you know he's gonna do this again like he's done previously. So personally, I think Alex is just being so overdramatic, because I really think he knows that's what he was gonna do. And I think the fact that you shut it down early, in my opinion, exposed Alex to his true intentions, because that really was his plan all along, and he just doesn't like the fact that you called it out before he could do it. My friend injured my eye, and now there's a chance I might lose half of my vision. But now this friend is making fun of me and laughing at the fact that my eye is injured, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 26-year-old female in dental school right now, and my friends and I went to play badminton at school. I was with one partner, and we were playing really well. Then we wanted to rotate partners, so I got paired up with another girl, and for the sake of the story, I'll call her Dana. She doesn't really play sports, but it seems like she really wanted to be my partner. So I said, sure, let's do this. While we were playing, we bumped into each other a lot. I don't think she's very good at sports, and when I called on the birdie, she would still go for it. Well, long story short, we collided once more, but this time she swung her racket directly on my eye. I then lost vision for 2 hours, and I went to the ER, and it was just gray, nothing else. But Dana was laughing the entire time, and I feel like it was nervous laughter. I tried to stay calm and positive, just because all my friends were there, and we're also going to be in the same class for the next 4 years, and I didn't want to create any tension. Either way, I noticed the entire time she was just laughing, even while she came with me to the ER. I had to go to the eye doctor the next morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the tests they did on me were uncomfortable, and they were very painful. It made me think about how I'm spending the one day during dental school where I could have taken a break break, but instead I spent it there, and my eyes were so dilated that I couldn't study the entire day. Everything was blurry for about 7 hours. The doctor said that I have damage on my retina, and I have some bleeding in the back of my eye. My vision should return in 1 to 4 months, but there's a risk that this vision loss could be permanent. Now fast forward, and there was a get-together with the same friends, and she was there. And she was laughing the entire time again, joking about my eye too. She doesn't seem to understand the severity of the situation, and it really bothers me. And right now, I'm at the point where I want to ask her for compensation, cover all my Uber fees going to and from the hospital, and for my eye doctor appointment fees. I didn't go to class today because my eye didn't feel great, and I didn't want to see her face either. Today, she went for sushi with our classmates, and I saw the group photo, and she was smiling so widely, and it just bothers me even more. I don't really know how to handle this situation, and I don't want to create drama or tension. I also don't want to affect my relationships with my other friends in our friend group, but I'm also very pissed off. I'm scared that this could be permanent, and I don't know what to do. So seriously, how do I continue this friendship? I don't know how to handle this, and I don't think her parents know either. I didn't tell my parents because they're going on a trip to Europe, and I don't want to worry them when they finally get on vacation. I honestly feel so stuck, and I seriously don't know what to do. Okay, first and foremost, this person is not your friend. They're making fun of the fact that they basically blinded you. They're laughing at you that they smacked you in the eye with their racket, and now you might be partially blind in one eye. That is definitely not a friend, and I don't even care that you're gonna have classes with them. Like, this could drastically change your entire life. So if I was in your shoes, I would get this whole friendship idea completely out of your head. She clearly doesn't care about you because she's just laughing about the entire situation, and I think you're just passing off her nervous laughter as her being nervous. But what if she actually thinks it's funny? What if she really thinks it's funny that you are losing your vision in one eye and it is her fault and she got away with it? Like, I don't know about you, but that would really piss me off because this is something you definitely should not take lightly. So in my opinion, I think you need to forget about everybody else's comfort and think about yourself for once. You're not a doormat, and you shouldn't allow these people to walk all over you. Like, this definitely is Dana's fault. And if she really was a friend, she would be willing to step in and have some kind of compensation for literally almost blinding you. And the fact that she's not coming to you is all the proof that you need that shows that no, she definitely does not care. I also think, in my opinion, if I was in your shoes, I would be telling my parents immediately. I would not care if they're going to Europe or not. Forget the vacation, I might be going blind in one eye. So seriously, I think you need to think about yourself and push any idea of this friendship off to the side, because this lady does not care about you. And in my opinion, I think you absolutely should be escalating this. Am I the jerk for not allowing my mother-in-law to stay at our place after she surprised us stating that she wanted to stay with us without ever asking us ahead of time? Here's what happened. Okay, so we are just a couple of newlyweds, just trying to figure out life. We are doing good and we are in love. We got married less than 6 months ago, and my parents paid for our dream wedding and they are still supporting us. My mother-in-law constantly told us that she would give us money, but she never did. I never asked for it, and honestly, I didn't need it thanks to my parents. But it was annoying hearing the same story where she promised something we all knew she could never give us. She was the only one giving us a hard time while planning the wedding because she wanted to invite a ton of people that we barely knew. She didn't put in a penny out of her own pocket, but still wanted a lot of people in our wedding, which did make me angry, but I never told her or my husband just to be respectful. She didn't seem happy the days that we got married, and I'm not sure why since we always had a good relationship, and she ended up inviting a lot of people. I was always respectful and even asked her opinion in some wedding stuff so she could feel like she was a part of it. Well, long story short, she lives in another state, and every time she came to visit Texas, she stayed with her brother. Well, yesterday we picked her up from the airport, and she told my husband she was expecting to stay with us. Now, I talked about this before, telling him that I don't feel comfortable with family members staying over at our house. They could visit and everything else, but they are not going to sleep in our home, and that is one of my boundaries, which he agreed to. She's been playing the victim since her brother and her got into an argument a few months ago, and they don't talk anymore. So now every time she comes over, she needs to stay with us. When we dropped her at her brother's, he was nice and kind to her. He always said that she could stay with him and that he could also help her with any errands she needed to do. Now, she never told my husband about the situation and never asked him or me if it was okay that she could stay with us. I get that she's my husband's mom, but I feel like she needs to understand that we do have boundaries, and she can't come and expect that we accommodate our schedules around her. I don't feel comfortable with anyone else staying because when I'm at home, I clean and cook and I do chores at my own pace, and I don't want to have someone saying what I need to do. I'm not happy that she planned her whole trip around the expectation that we would accommodate her without even asking. We always thought she would stay with her brother, as she has always done that before. She was never clingy to my husband when he was single, and I'm not sure why she wants to play that role now that we're married. Now fast forward, and she did end up staying with her brother, but I feel like my husband is resentful now, since he thinks I don't want his mother around just because I'm mean. So am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? Okay, I seriously don't think you're the jerk here, because what your mother-in-law tried to do is incredibly rude. Like seriously, who just shows up to your house and says, "Oh, you're gonna take me in"? It's like, no, I'm not. Like, why would you try to drop in and be like, "Oh, I'm staying at your place now, I'm having an argument with my brother"? Because I would straight up say, yeah, that's cool, that's also not gonna happen. So to that extent, I'm right there with the original poster. They should not be forced to house literally anybody, especially if they're not comfortable with it. And the way your mother-in-law tried to go about doing this, in my opinion, is incredibly inappropriate. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.